Spontaneous generation.
Do you know that Aristotle has the theory on which he believes that life can arise from non-living matter? That's what we call spontaneous generation. But what is spontaneous generation? Well, I can say that it refers to the previously popular thinking that a living thing or a matter could arise or develop from a non-living thing. The theory says that it held that complex living organisms may be produced from non-living matter. Spontaneous generation may also pertain to the process that supposedly led to the formation or development of a living thing from non-living matter. However, do you know that an Italian physician, Francesco Redi, performed an experiment in 1668? It was one of the first to refute the idea that maggots spontaneously generate on meat left out in the open air. He even predicted that preventing flies from having direct contact with the meat would also prevent the appearance of maggots. He also did the 3 containers experiment, on which the first one was an open-aired, while the 2 were tightly sealed. In 1745, John Needham published a report of his own experiments, on which he briefly boiled broth infused with plants or animal matter, hoping to kill all pre-existing microbes. He then sealed the flask. After a few days, Needham observed that the broth had become cloudy and a single drop contained numerous microscopic creatures. Do you know that Lazzaro Spallanzani did not agree with Needham's conclusions, however, and performed hundreds of carefully executed experiments using heated broth? As in Needham experiments, broth in sealed jars and unsealed jars was infused with plants and animal matter. Spallanzani's results contradicted the findings of Needham. Needham argued that life originates from a life force that was destroyed during Spallanzani's extended boiling and subsequent off-sealing of the flask, then prevented new life force from entering and caused spontaneous generation itself. Later on, Pasteur made a series of flasks with long twisted necks, and this is what we call swan neck flask, in which he boiled the broth and sterilized it. He designed the allowed air inside the flask to be exchanged with air from the outside, but prevented the introduction of any airborne microorganisms, which would get caught in the twists and bends of the flask neck. Along with the continued advancement of laboratory tools and techniques, spontaneous generation have been kept strongly disproved. At present, the principle of spontaneous generation are no longer favored. The theory is now obsolete.